Season 22 tier list time. I was going to do this a little earlier in the season, but we didn't have enough data to go by. Speaking of not having enough data to go by, we're actually going to see two different tier lists today. The first one we're going to see is with no requirements, no stipulations of the unit has to be used this amount of times in RTA. We're just going to see both of these are based on win rates as well. I should probably just read the disclaimer because all this stuff is going to be in the disclaimer. Following are two tier lists based on win rate. These are not based on my opinion. These are based on data. Actually, the second one that is more accurate is kind of wacky what is at the top, which we're going to see in a second. The first tier list with a minimum sample size of 1+, letting any unit that has ever had a win this season be eligible for the tier list. The second tier list is based on a minimum sample size of 2,000+. So as long as the unit has been used 2,000+ times in RTA, that is going to be on the second tier list. For the first one, anything that's been on one time, at the very least, is going to be on the, or is not going to be on the tier list, but is at least eligible to potentially be on the tier list. I didn't include every single unit in the entire game. I'm so sorry. Not really that sorry. Oh, we have a second disclaimer. The first is to show, oh yeah, this is the reason for that. The first is to show why it's dangerous to use small data pools to try to determine the strength of any given unit. If a unit has only had one win out of one pick that it's ever been used in RTA, it's going to be top tier because it's only it's had 100% win rate. So second is more reasonable, accurate tier list for season 22. Again, this is based on data, not my opinion. My opinion different. Well, we'll get to that in a second. So this is the first tier list. Disclaimer number 3. This is also only using data from the best section of the RTA replays. I have no control over that. That's all from SWarena. That is how they tabulate the data. So it really doesn't take into consideration the people that are using these things in like Fighter 1, Fighter 2, for example. This is based, again, on win rate. We see stuff down here, F tier, 47 +% win rate. Anything below 47, we didn't even include on here. We see, it's shocking to see Ciara so low. It's crazy. Like, some of these units, like 10 seasons ago, were like S tier. Like, Vanessa also, like 10 seasons ago, Vanessa and Ciara were like the two first pick units over and over. And Fran was high on there too. I don't know where exactly Fran is here, but we see a lot of things here. We see Mo Long, we see Vertiheal. Vertiheal for me is a constant frustration. But this is anything that has had any battles this season is at the very least eligible for, oh, there's Fran, eligible for this tier list, right? So if it's won once, if it's won twice, if it's won 10 times, if it's won 30 times, then it's eligible. So 48, 49, 50% win rate, 51%, right? So 50, 51. This is where the bulk of the OP stuff is, though. That's the crazy thing. This is the bulk of the OP stuff. Is 51+% win rate, 52+% win rate. This we've got so many more tiers, right? So we have S tier, we have double S tier, which looks pretty crazy to see Tion lying next to the light magic archer, but the light magic archer is actually used just a handful of times. This is used just a handful of times, but the win rate was like, well, obviously 53%, but not quite at the level of some of these other things. So we of course have Aquila, we have a Camir, 55+% win rate. Again, these things, actually this is not supposed to be Brandy. This is supposed to be Alicia, which has been used quite a decent amount of times. She was at least used 500 or 1,000 times or whatever, but she had a pretty good win rate this season. Even with a larger sample size, she had a pretty good win rate, which was surprising. But we keep going. 60+% win rate. Things you wouldn't really expect to have 60+% win rate. Again, it's not that these units, and then we go over to 100%. So based on the sample size of at least one, these units have never lost. They have been picked like once. Actually, Bernard was picked 3 times, according to the data. And this is all from SWarena, by the way. That's where the data is from. But all of these units have never lost this season until people are gonna start. People gonna try them out now. They're gonna be like, "Oh no, don't worry, I lost enough with it to get it down to a 20% win rate." So again, this is just one pick, one win. That's why it's important to have large sample sizes to get the most accurate collection of data for these tier lists. But this one is just for fun. Quintuple S, 100% perfect win rate, broken OP. Then we have a reasonable tier list. So this is based on, well, the other one was based on data too, but the sample size, very, very small sample size. This one is based on a 2,000 plus sample size. We see, again, I mean, the stuff at the bottom is, again, the same stuff at the bottom because it's the same season. It's the same, you know, it's just these things are being, this is only filtering out anything that has not been used at least 2,000 times. How many times do I have to say that? I don't know. I just like repeating myself, apparently. So, fairly similar stuff here. However, it tops out at 53+% win rate. Actually, these things are like 55% win rate. I mean, like, she's new, so of course anything that's new and LD is strong, people haven't had enough experience dealing with it yet, so I'm not surprised. These are going to go. Also, the people that have the best runes are the ones that have I shouldn't say they're not all the ones that have her, but it's more likely that people with good runes and a lot of money and very efficient accounts are wailing on LD packs and wailing on LD packs and wailing on LD packs to actually try to get this stuff. Nana, seeing here, is not very much of a shock. I was shocked to see this here more so than before. I think it's just based on the... Here's the thing. Some of these units get higher in the tier list for certain seasons based on what other units are popular for any given season. So right now, Shizuka is here, Dominic is here, and Masha is here. These are where the units actually lie on the tier lists. 50% win rate. They're fairly equal in terms of wins and losses. However, these units are being picked so much that even though they're really good in the hands of strong players, other players are just picking them first because they feel like they need to pick them first because that's the season. And then things that are very good against units like that tend to rise to the top and be more meta in any given season because these things are very meta. And then these things at the top that usually would have had lower win rates in other seasons, much stronger in this season based on Dominic being picked more, based on Shizuka, based on also Shengpeng has been really nice against her as well. Shengpeng's skill 2 and skill 3 both super good. His win rate is only 49% plus, so he wins a little bit less than half his matches, but just some food for thought. This is, again, Season 22 tier list based on win rate. You see a lot of the OP LDs here, but you see some things like Lucian you wouldn't have expected, or maybe you would have, but Lucian, Artemil, I'm gonna get flagged from YouTube for saying that now. I'm gonna have to blur her name out. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, that's it for this one. Just wanted to give you guys some food for thought. Win rate with minimum sample size of 1 or more, and then win rate with a 2,000 plus sample size. So let me zoom this out. I'll actually leave a link if you guys want to download this or whatever. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys. That's it for this one. Hope you guys got a laugh. That's why sample size is important. I will see you as always with any data, not just tier lists. I'll see you as always in the next one.